Great. So let me start by saying this is a show for NAR India, from NAR India, of NAR India. So welcome all. And what is Dalai Lama famous for? The ponytail. So let's begin with some ponytails. Once upon a time, there was a horse who challenged a small snail for a race. The snail was wondering, how would I race with this big horse? But he took up the challenge. He was extremely worried that night and he took up a race for Sunday. Prior to a Sunday, what he did is he called for a meeting of the Snails Association in that place. So all the association members of that snail association came and met, and they put their heads together and came out with one strategy. So on the Sunday of the race, all the snails left their holes a few hours earlier than the race. And from the beginning till the end point, since all the snakes looked alike, they placed themselves at a little distance and hid themselves. This snail started the race with the horse, and after the horse galloped a few steps ahead, it looked down and it still saw a snail ahead of them without realizing that this is a different snail. The horse kept picking up speed, but everywhere he looked down, he found the snail ahead of him. And just before the end line, he saw the snail at the end line too, and he finally gave up and said, okay, I lose. How did the snails win? A simple story. Snails won because of their unity and strength together and by teamwork. Ladies and gentlemen, NAR India is your umbrella association, and all of us realtors are snails who will continue to grow and win the battle together. So welcome to the Dalai Lama show, where we have real icons coming and talking to us. But before I begin the show, let me start it differently. Before I introduce the icon and the speaker of the day, can I request everybody, wherever you are, to please stand up, and we will pray in silence for 1 minute to pay homage to all the loved ones, our dear ones who have lost their dear ones in the pandemic. Om Shanti, and God bless their souls and give all of them the strength to bear the loss. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. As they say, the show must go on, and that's life. So excellent organizations don't believe in excellence alone. They believe in constant upgradation, learning, and sharing. They believe in constant improvement and constant change. And NAR India is definitely one of these such organizations. They say management is doing the right things, but leadership is doing the right things and management is doing things right. So National Association of Realtors India is blessed to have not one, but many a visionary leaders. Let me introduce to you Mr. Naresh Malkani, our real estate icon for the Real Talk with us today. Naresh ji, thank you. As you all know by now already, Naresh ji is the founder of NAR India and is the president of the company that he runs, which is iPlus Realty Incorporation. Naresh ji was born into a real estate brokerage family in Pune. He was introduced to real estate business at a very young age when he helped build his family real estate business into one of the successful brokerage firms in Pune. He then moved his sights to the US, where in 1983, armed with an MBA and a real estate license, He joined Shannon and Lux Realty, one of the leading real estate organizations in Washington, D.C. Having won several awards and recognitions, Naresh decided to set up his own office in 1988, set up a franchise firm with Remax, the largest real estate brokerage organization in US, and 4 years later, he set up a second office. By 1994, his US operations had over 86 associates and a turnover of over $166 million. Naresh has been a member of the panel of the Moderate Housing and the Ethics of the Professional Standard. Sorry, just give me a second. Professional Standard Committee, both important and prestigious committees in the real estate business. In 97, Naresh took the bold step of relocating back to India and set up the first online real estate property listing company called indiaproperties.com. In 2002, he set up IRE, the Indian Institute of Real Estate, an online real estate education initiative for young aspiring entrepreneurs for entry into the real estate brokerage business. In 2008, Naresh founded NAR-India, a non-profit organization created to be the collective voice of realtors in India. Currently, Naresh operates a real estate construction and development company focusing on the co-living concept in Washington, D.C. in US. Welcome, Mr. Naresh Malkani ji, to the show. Your opening remarks, Naresh ji, if you would like to say something.
Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank NAR-India for this opportunity. And what a great pleasure it is to be here chatting with all of you together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So before I start my questions, Naresh, it's actually staggering to know that you've been in real estate for nearly 40 years. Let me tell you, I've been married for 30 years and I've been in real estate for 20 years. And my wife thinks that my brain is already a masterpiece in this much of time, both the left and the right brain. She thinks the left has nothing right in it and the right has nothing left in it. So that's me in 20 years. I don't know how you've done it in 40 years. You know, I always say a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. So you've been a true leader. So what inspired you, Naresh, to get into the real estate industry? Run us through your journey of last 40 years in business as a realtor. Naresh.
Well, I got involved in real estate by accident. It was really not a conscious decision. In fact, during my times in the 70s, when I was still growing up as a kid, my family was in the real estate business. And in those days, as you know, the real estate broking business was not considered a career of choice. Clearly not. You either were born into it or you just were not going to get into it. So I think I was born into the family. It was clearly not my choice and clearly not my parents' choice, as I would say they preferred that I not get into the broking business. In 1982, when I finished my my college, and my parents decided that, look, you know, you've been around the family business too long. We're scared that you're going to get into this real estate business because it's too tempting for you. So I think you should go abroad for studies. And so they sent me to the US to pursue further education, much against my wishes, to be honest with you, because I was really enjoying making money in Pune. And it was easy money in those days. But lo and behold, after I graduated here with the master's, like I said, real estate was just too tempting. And I decided to take up a career in real estate in the US. And my parents were not necessarily very thrilled because they said, we sent you all these miles away thinking you'll go get a job, you know, earn yourself a good pension and live a good retired life when you're old, but you went and got into real estate broking. This is really interesting. Nevertheless, it was really a career of choice at that point of time. I did make that choice at that time, and only because I found how different it was than India. Um, Real estate had evolved in the US quite a bit, thanks to organizations like the National Association of Realtors US that brought about a lot of professionalism in the business. And I would go to meetings, I would go to conferences, go to conventions. I would see how important it is to interact with these people, and what a great bunch of entrepreneurial spirit that comes under this one umbrella. So got into the business, and there was really no looking back after that. One just snowballed into the other. Market grew. Markets were very, very different then than what markets are today. But I think we've had a great stint for the last 40 years.
Wow. Wow. Totally inspiring. Fabulous. So, Naresh, as I told you, I and my wife are married for 30 years. It was a love marriage. And it's only the marriage that told me that after 30 years, I realized love is blind, but marriage is definitely the eye opener. And while I did not have a vision pre-marriage, I'm sure the vision of NAR-India must have been a passionate one with you. I keep saying vision is a picture of the future that produces passion. So how did you conceptualize and envision the idea of NAR-India? And what inspired you, and what were your challenges to form National Association of Realtors India? Nareshji?
Very interesting development that happened one day when I was, after being in the business almost for, I'd say over 10 years, I was attending a continuing education class in DC. In the US, in order to maintain your license, you have to take 15 hours of continuing education coursework in order to renew your license, or they would not let you renew your license. And these 15 hours are typically 3-hour sessions at any given point of time, and they cover various topics. And there are some electives that you can attend, but there are some prerequisites that one must do. For instance, one of the prerequisites is ethics. You have to sit for an ethics course for 3 hours. But one of the electives was globalization. There was a lot of talk in the mid-90s, late 90s, I would say, about globalization. And there was this professor called Dr. Nathan Booth, who was teaching this class. And I remember him talking about globalization. And there were other people from other parts of the world in the US, and who spoke about it. And I decided to speak about India because, I knew India best. And after the class, he said, I'd like to talk to you, let's chat. And so we had coffee after class. And it was during that session when I asked him, when he told me first, NAR US is developing an initiative, which is going to be called ICREA, International Consortium of Real Estate Associations. And you should really participate in that consortium. I think you will add a lot of value to this consortium. I said, yes, I'd love to be part of it. So he gave me a phone number and a name of a gentleman in Chicago at NAR USA. And I was on a flight to Chicago to discuss about how we can bring India in the fold to join ICREA and participate in this globalization of real estate effort. That's how it really started. It was as simple as that. It was a dream that we wrote out on a piece of paper at coffee in Chicago. And I said, okay, I'm going to try to connect back with some of my people back in India, and let's see where this goes. So that's how it all started. And that was the initial vision that was formulated on a piece of napkin at a restaurant in Chicago.
As they say in India, a lot can happen over coffee. And right. We now realize NAR India was probably there on the tissues in a coffee day
Yeah.
in Starbucks. I don't know if it was there or not, but fantastic,
No,
fantastic
there were no Starbucks. There was just
Starbucks at that point of time.
coffee
Yeah, I
break.
agree.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, there were a lot of challenges in India, as you know, the typical objections, and it was not easy. Let me tell you. While it was easy for me to envision how this would plan out, but it was very, very, very difficult for my local people, for the local partners that I was trying to partner in India, to envision this opportunity. But I'm so glad we did it when we did it, because I think timing was right. Market was changing. People had to evolve and grow. There was no option.
fabulous, fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So, Naresh, Bangalore is under lockdown right now, and so are many, many cities across India. Most of the world has experienced lockdowns, at least last year. Last year in the lockdown, I thought this is a time when finally I would watch some TV and my wife would sink in my arms. But the reality of my life became that my arms were in the sink most of the time instead of she sinking in my arms. People consider it a joke, but one day water wasn't coming and I actually washed utensils with my tears. That's the truth. So, we can all write about our experience. But jokes apart, family, upbringing, education are actually the strongest pillars of foundation for any human in life. So, could you briefly touch upon your childhood, your education, your family and life? What is a typical day in the life of the successful realtor Naresh Malkani looks like today? Naresh.
Let me tell you, this coronavirus pandemic has really made us sit back and reevaluate our entire life. I'm sure every one of us
True.
was forced to do it. And so while I would hate to say this is a blessing in disguise, but it does sometimes, I think it helps us to kind of look back and see how lucky we have been all these many years of going, without any such a major crisis. I mean, there was upon a time when we entered the crisis in March of 2020. I really thought that the world was falling apart. I mean, it was like one had never ever seen something like this. Yes, I too started washing dishes. I too started cooking at home, and I appreciated my homemaker a whole lot more than I ever did in my entire life. And I'm sure I heard TikTok stories and everything from everybody. Men are sweeping the floors, and wives are, looking and watching and laughing and saying, "You can't even do this. This is crazy." But my childhood I was born in Bombay, as you said. I was brought up in Pune. Pune in those days was just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful city. It would open at about 9 o'clock. Shops would shut down by 1 o'clock. The shutters were down. People went home for a siesta. They came back around 4:30, and the shops were open till about 8:30. 8:30 sharp, all the shops shutters came down. I mean, that is all that was to Pune. We were fortunate to live in the outskirts of Pune, in a place called Aund, which is near Baner. My dad always felt that we got to have a roof of our own, so he bought a small plot for 11 paise a square foot in those days, and which today is in excess of almost 18,000 rupees a square foot. So you can imagine what has happened to property values in India. I grew up in Pune. I did my schooling in Pune. I did part of my undergraduate studies in Pune, and then came and finished my undergraduate studies here, and then enrolled in the master's program. Typical day for me is wake up in the morning. I can't wait to get back into my jacket and go and do real estate. I mean, this is my passion. I love this business. You're either going to be passionate about it or you're not. And if you're passionate about it, you're going to be successful. There is no doubt in my mind. But if you're not going to be passionate about this business, there is just no way you can be successful in this business. It's a business full of emotions. It's a business full of understanding people and understanding the needs of your client. It's a great business. It is the only business that you don't have to invest one penny in to get into, other than educate yourself about the marketplace. So that's been my life, and like I said, my typical day starts with real estate and it ends with real estate.
Wow. Wow. That's some single-minded devotion, and no wonder you are where you are. And I'm sure all of us and a lot of young brigand would have a lot to learn from there. Fantastic. Thank you, Naresh. I wanted to talk a little about digital literacy. I believe digital literacy is the ability to use technology to navigate, evaluate, and create worthwhile information. I personally believe it's the biggest mistake that I made, that in my college, I always scored A plus grades, whereas the guys who did C plus are the ones who are ruling the world now today in the IT world, with their C plus expertise. Jokes apart, I still have no regrets, because I believe in my college days, I mastered in Java back home, and which was more about looking at girls and saying Mar Java and mid Java. So that was my Java expertise. Okay, jokes apart, they say Google only loves you when everyone else loves you first. So in your viewpoint, how has technology changed the way real estate business is done? And more importantly, what role will technology play in shaping the future of realtors and brokers, specifically in India, from here on? Naresh.
Technology has made some amazing advancements in real estate. It has become today the lifeline of real estate business. I mean, I can tell you, if you don't embrace technology, you better get out of the market, because there is no opportunity for you left in the market. When I got into the market way back in 1985, after I graduated from my school, there was no technology. There was very little technology, which was basically Microsoft Word doc, Microsoft Excel. In fact, Microsoft Excel was not even there. It was Lotus spreadsheets that we would use, and then Microsoft came in. We in our office, in my first job, I belonged to an office that had about 35, 40 agents that would work under one umbrella, and we would cooperate with each other. Whatever inventory we brought to the table, we just shared it among ourselves or among the company through an intra-office email system. Very soon that changed into becoming an MLS platform, where all the realtors across all the companies started sharing this information. In India, there was no concept of that yet. Basically, a broker would pick up a phone and call his buddy broker who worked in a particular environment. We all worked in our small environmental zones, in our small little niche marketplaces, So if Ravi was working in camp, he would only work in camp. And my mom was working in Aund. There's no way she could focus on camp. The market was just too big. But look what technology has done. I mean, it's just expanded our entire marketplace globally. Today, I can be sitting in DC and selling properties in Chicago and selling properties in India, cooperating with some of the other brokers, or just gaining access online. Technology is going to continue to play a very, very important role. And I think we have no option but to embrace technology. I think some of us who feel that we're going to dodge that bullet, it's not going to happen. And I don't think you can really make a success in this business by swinging it anymore from the seat of your pants. You better get out there and learn technology. Some of us are very challenged with technology just because we got into business so many years ago. I think it's opened up a whole new world for the young who are getting into the business. I think they have it very easy, sometimes I say. Not only the commissions have gone up, the volumes have gone up, the prices have gone up, We never made those kind of monies when we started off in business. Today, a small deal can get you a commission of 1 lakh just with a drop of a hat. So, but I think one has to embrace technology, and globalization is here to stay. It's not going away anytime soon. All markets have been globalized thanks to technology. I mean, you can just see the city that you're sitting in yourself, Bangalore. Where would it be without technology? I mean, that city was not even known globally, but today it's known so well that so many foreign companies are in Bangalore occupying real estate. So I think real estate, I mean, technology is here to stay.
Thank you, Naresh, on that one. You know, US continues to absolutely impress me. Technology obviously is playing the biggest role, and the whole sphere has changed for all of us. But you know, when we talk about the US, I don't mind sharing here. Actually, my visa to the US got rejected. I was called for an interview at the consulate, and they asked me, you know, where do you want to go in US? And I told them, my son lives in San Jose. So they told me it's not San Jose, it's San Jose. So I said, all right. And they asked me, from when to when do you want to visit? And I told them, honestly, I want to go from Hoon to Hulai. And I don't know for what reason they rejected my visa. But so I keep saying I don't understand US. But most Indians are limited as realtors to thinking of marketing India to the Indians or the NRIs in the US. So how did you immigrate to the US, and how has the real estate experience been in the US vis-a-vis India? More importantly, the best practices that India needs to adopt from the matured US real estate market that you would like to convey to our audience. Naresh.
I immigrated to the US in 1982 as a student on a student visa. And it was in 1983 and 83 December that I almost came that close to moving back to India, because I frankly hated America. We had this vision of US being a great place. Roads are smooth, cars are great, everything is great, but I just could not deal with the loneliness that came with being in the US, especially as a student and being alone with no family. I was grown up in a very tight family environment, and especially living in Aun, we would play out on the streets, so on and so forth. So, you know, my vision of US was very different. But of course, reality hit me hard in the face, and things in 1983 started looking a little bit better, and opportunities started coming by after I finished my graduate studies. I joined a company called Shannon Lux, and in those days it was not very difficult to get a job in the real estate industry. And the company decided to sponsor me because of my success rate in the marketplace that I was working. And as a result of which, I got my green card. I also was fortunate enough that my to-be wife did immigrate to the US, who I was friendly with in India. And so that helped, because that got me some company when she was here with me, and she came to study at Johns Hopkins University. So that's how was the initial move from India to US. It was not easy. It was not pleasant. It was extremely rough, extremely lonely, and very difficult. As far as best practices that India can adopt, I think India has already adopted a lot of the best global practices that it needs to adopt. The real estate market in the US is extremely leveraged, and just like the Indian real estate market has over time got leveraged. I remember when I left in 1982, if I mistake not, HDFC had started giving loans for the first time just around that time. It was 81 or 82. And it was a new concept. It was you really didn't take loans other than to get your daughter married or for your education. But it was a new concept. Whereas here in the US, mortgage loans have been around for many, many years. I think the markets have matured over time. People have matured. Financial discipline has come into the marketplace. India needs to adopt those policies. Being a leveraged market, markets go up and down very rapidly. If you remember in the olden days, there was always a saying, real estate markets never go down in India. Well, you and I both know that that's not true anymore. They go up and they go down, and that's because of leverage in the marketplace. The only reason real estate marketplace did not go up and down in India when we were growing up as a kid is because there was no leverage in the market. So people were not forced to sell when the market went down. Okay, you just bought what you could afford. That's not true anymore. And I think there are opportunities to leveraging. India has done really well. Financial discipline, I think, is very important. I know when we were running IndiaProperties.com, we used to run an auction platform. We used to sell auction properties for a host of banks. And so I saw the other side where we were selling foreclosure properties on our IndiaProperties.com. And I could see how difficult the market was at that point of time. But I think things have come a long way in India also. So Indian market has had the opportunity, thanks to globalization, thanks to technology, to actually not waste their time reinventing the wheel, but understanding how markets work.
That's a lot of takeaway. Thank you, Naresh, and I'm sure it will add to a lot of our experiences. It's absolutely fabulous, phenomenal, and yeah, I think India is a huge potential for all of us, and we are just the whole young breed is just fortunate to I think what we are going to experience in the next 5 to 10 years is explosion of business at some point of time, and there are a huge amount of opportunities. Talking of opportunities, Naresh, I actually once ate an aspirin by mistake. I panicked and I called up my wife saying, what do I do? And she taught me the lesson that you should never miss an opportunity. So what she did is she gave me a headache so that the aspirin is not wasted. So and that's where I learned that opportunities have to be encashed on. But opportunities come with affiliations. And as they say, opportunity knocks but once. So how did you grow on the opportunities that came your way? How has NAR US, NAR Global in specific, been instrumental in your growth? And how do you think NAR US and NAR India affiliation help to grow every realtor and broker in India from here on?
I think NAR US really brought about a lot of professionalism in the business, gave us a brand, gave us the opportunity to affiliate to a group of professionals. It brought in a lot of professionalism in the business, which is what was lacking, and which was lacking even more in a place like India, because nobody respected real estate brokers. It brought us that professionalism that we were looking for. It taught us ethics, and it offered us a lot of education in the field of real estate. As you know, many colleges and universities don't offer any real estate education learning capabilities, whereas NAR US was very instrumental in developing programs, systems, and processes that not just city associations could embrace, but even the opportunities that they created for local realtors in these cities with the associations they belonged. The continuing education credit, our licensing authority would not renew your license unless you finish the continuing education credit. Every 2 years, as a real estate broker in the US, in Washington, DC, I have to continue to go for 15 hours of continuing education credit. So I think that credibility comes in when all these things happen. In India, it's going to be the same thing. NAR-India is the umbrella organization. We have set up NAR-India as an association of associations. We cater to the city associations, and through which we're able to reach the local realtor, because as you know, at the end of the day, in spite of globalization, in spite of technology, real estate still is a local business. And so there's no way that NAR-India can reach every local market in the country, but we reach them through our local city associations. And this has been a great opportunity where the local realtor can affiliate himself or herself to the local city association, which then plugs into NAR-India. I think this opportunity that you've created, this platform that you have created, the show of NAR-India that you've created, is a great opportunity for learning of various different things for our local realtor people in these small cities. So opportunities are only going to grow, and globalization is here to stay, like I said, and embrace technology. In a way, I think we should thank the pandemic, because we wouldn't have embraced these webinars before. People would have said, no, forget it, I don't have the time. But here's the opportunity right here that has been created, actually, thanks to the pandemic.
Totally agree. Totally agree with that. So, Naresh, one of the most amazing, innovative disruptor that this world has seen is obviously Steve Jobs of the Apple fame. So my wife told me that what most people don't know is that some of his quotes were actually inspired from the Punjabi women in India, like her. So on Karwa Chauth fasting is when Steve inspiringly told the world, stay hungry, stay foolish. Even movies like Fast and Furious were probably inspired from the same source. But I keep saying disruptive innovation can hurt if you are not the one who's disrupting. So disruption is the name of the game in every industry, and disruptors in real estate are no different today. What is your take on disruptions Indian real estate and Indian realtor in specific must expect, and ways to counter it for the realtor to continue growing, with your experience? Naresh.
You cannot counter disruptors. Let's face the reality the way it is. I think if you focus yourself on the opportunity that disruptors create for you, maybe you can then move to the other side. Being completely pinned down in your old thoughts and saying, oh, that's not the way it's done, or it's never going to be successful. Let me tell you, it's going to get done and it's going to be successful. The question is, do you want to be part of it, or do you not want to be part of it? I mean, take for instance, we created opportunities in India ourselves by creating India's first property listing platform. We were a disruptor. We came and disrupt. We rattled brokers all across the country. Okay, so we were a disruptor. We took that opportunity. But again, if you ask all our realtors who were part of our platform, they benefited a lot more, and they continue to benefit a lot more. Okay, those who know how to exploit the opportunity and look at these disruptors as an opportunity, I think will be far more successful than if you just look at that idea as a disruptor. Because, so, I mean, bottom line is you have to look at these things as an opportunity for yourself and see where you can create a niche in the market for yourself. Now, I know, we all know, today you don't see any travel agents in the market. They're all gone. You don't see so many middle people in the business, as I call them. They're all gone. Well, we continue to stay in the middle of the business. And thanks to NAR USA, that at least in the US, I can tell you, they have made great efforts to make sure that the realtor continues to stay in the center of the transaction. So exploit it and look at them as an opportunity and exploit that opportunity. That would be my best advice to everybody in India today.
Fantastic. Disruptors are an opportunity. That's a new one, and that's a great takeaway. Naresh, you know, at my house, I know for sure who the leader is, who the boss is. And believe me, it's obviously me. And trust me, I have my wife's permission to say so. You know, I keep saying my wife actually treats me like God. You know, she takes no notice of me till she actually wants something. And that's how we treat God most of the time, you know. So every time my wife asks me to say 3 magical words to her, I always end up saying it's my fault. And I think it's worked wonderfully. Why am I talking about it? Because leadership at business is different and serious. And I seriously believe that the purpose of a true leader is to create more leaders. Now, you've been a leader. So what are the leadership traits that define you? And what is the leadership advice that you have for young leaders at NAR-India and elsewhere, say local associations? Naresh.
I think it's evolved. Leadership to me is basically teamsmanship. You have to create teams. You have to belong to a team. You have to create an umbrella for yourself. Be a disruptor. Think how you can change the market. We've disrupted the real estate realtor business in India by just forming the National Association of Realtors India. I think that is by itself an opportunity that we have created for the local realtors. In order to join the global marketplace, I think one needs to accelerate your learnings every day. Like I said, you cannot wing it by the seat of your pants. Those days, unfortunately, are far gone. So I would say to the young leaders, number one is find an opportunity to disturb the market. There are still many holes in our market that one can exploit. And what's very interesting is the young that are coming into our marketplace. These are educated people getting into our marketplace. These are people now today making their real estate their career of choice, unlike when we first got into the market. I don't know when 20 years ago, if you got into the market, if that was a career of choice, I'm not sure. But I think certainly when I got in the market, that was not a career of choice. I mean, it was hard to find a wife if you were a real estate broker. But today, that's not the case. So excel at what you do best, embrace education, embrace professionalism, and there's no way you're going to lose.
Super, super. So at this stage, both Naresh and our audience, let me spring a surprise to you. You know, let's bring in a friend of yours. I know you are not aware of this plan, but can we have the video on Mr. Naresh Malkani's friend, sir? Okay, while he gets on, there you go. So welcome, Ravi Verma, sir. You got to unmute yourself. So Ravi is not just a friend of Naresh Malkani, but I think a friend and a mentor to almost every realtor in NAR-India specifically. And, you know, Ravi goes long way back with Naresh Malkani, and I'm sure he'll be able to share some secrets about Naresh that Naresh would not talk to us about. So, ladies and gentlemen, meet the extremely young, extremely flamboyant, the knowledgeable Bhishma Pitama and chairman of NAR-India, Ravi Verma. Let's give him a big round of applause. Ravi, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. It's indeed a pleasure to talk about Naresh, particularly when he doesn't know what I'm going to say, and I can get my own back at him. Because
Super.
as far as Naresh is concerned, I am his favorite punching bag in NAR-India. Anything goes wrong with NAR-India, he gets on the phone and starts lambasting. And how can this happen and how can that happen? But I must tell you that in 2009, Naresh Malkani walked into my office, and along with Kishan Milani, who was the secretary of our local association. At that time, we used to be the largest and oldest association in the country. We were about 350 strong. And when Naresh started NAR-India, I sent Kishan Milani to represent us because it was an association of associations. And he walked into our office and he said, "You're going to be the second president of NAR-India." At that time, I used to head the Pune Association. And I looked at him, we chatted for a while, and then I started realizing a few things about Naresh. We spent a lot of time together. I asked him what his own goals were, and I realized that he started this association and he wanted no position for himself. He was only focused on growing the association. And he told me something that I've never forgotten, and I want to share on this platform with everybody, that he had earlier once tried to start a national association. And the biggest mistake he said he made was to head that association. So he said, "I want to have this association where I have no position." Okay. And it is an association of associations. It is for empowering the ordinary, or not ordinary, no realtor is ordinary according to me. Everybody is extraordinary. To empower every realtor in the country. That was his goal. So he took us to Bangalore, and then we had a very nice meeting. We had a first convention in Pune. And as we went along, for the first 4 or 5 years, he would come to every GB. And he would come only to handhold and course correct to the GB. He would come at his own expense, and many times he would travel from US. So this was the kind of selflessness. I said, this is what has to be emulated by anybody who offers his services to helm NAR-India. You know? So
absolutely fantastic, Ravi sir. I think we all need to applaud sharing of this about Naresh. But since it's a talk show and it's getting a little serious, and you are the older friend of Naresh, tell us that one embarrassing moment or not so good thing about Naresh. We've been talking only good about it. So tell us that one thing which none of us would know otherwise.
I don't remember any embarrassing things about Naresh, but Naresh is very serious person, so he doesn't get into embarrassing situations. The most embarrassing thing for him was that one fine day I told him, "Look, according to protocols, you can't be coming to the GB because you belong to no association." and so we created a position of vice chairman. That was embarrassing for him because he wanted no position. So that's the only thing that I can think of. He'd had no association. So we made him an honorary member of the Pune Association. Both him and Dr. Rao was our first chairman, and he led us for the first 5-6 years, and very ably, I may add. You know, that was that.
Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Naresh, anything that you would like to say to Ravi very quickly before Ravi goes off screen?
No, I want to say one or two more things with your
Sure, sir.
permission.
Sure, sir.
So I must say that I was very challenged technologically, and when Naresh was talking about the realtor who was technologically challenged, it probably meant me. So all my early PowerPoints, I used to go around the country enrolling associations. So all my early PowerPoints, whether it was code of ethics or protocols or how to start an association or what were the advantages of NAR Global, all those PowerPoints used to be made by Naresh. And I only knew how to press the next button. And I would go around the country and try and enroll people. So this is what we would do. The other thing he did was, he told us very clearly that education, MLS, and membership, these should be your 3 revenue streams. So for people who don't know, IIRE was gifted to us by Naresh, and which Sumant is heading now. So he said, don't pass the hat around, which is our traditional way of raising money. This will give you more money than you can count. IIRE, training, education. MLS, Realtor.com was already there in US by then. So he said MLS and membership fees. So membership fees we are still struggling with. And this is a process of evolution. Don't get worried, we are not going to charge you more by the end of the show. But these were things that he brought to NAR-India and which should be known, because knowing him, he is not going to talk about himself or what he did. So in the first 5-6 years, for the first 7 years, I think, we got free training in many of the verticals that were important to us by trainers who would come from US and who would go around the country and train our people. Many of them brought great content. And all this was done free because of Naresh's relationship with NAR and ICRIA. Yes? So that is what it is.
Superb, Ravi sir. Thank you so much. You know, I keep saying, Ravi ji, hats off for willing to perform cameo roles and character acts, even after achieving so much. You know, it's absolutely your humbleness, and hats off to you. Ekta, you'll have to find a way to take Ravi sir back to his...
I'll leave, no problem.
back to his pavilion. Thank you so much, sir, for coming in. Truly appreciated. So while he does that, Naresh, you know, my younger son, who's in the US right now, once told me, saying, Dad, neither will I marry, nor will I ever allow my children to marry. So I think that's the youth of today. But, you know, we need to move a little quickly. So youth is the future of the nation. To our thousands of young realtor members and millions of brokers and agents in India, many of them who are watching this show right now, what would be the gems of points and advice that you would like to convey to them to learn and grow, specifically to the youth and the youngsters? Naresh.
I would say the top 5, in my opinion, would be, especially in the real estate segment, I would say embrace technology, embrace the market, embrace your client. Don't abandon your client. Embrace and engage in professional conduct. Do not compromise your integrity. At the end of the day, that's all you have. And if you do, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get out of that rat hole. And finally, something we always forget to do because we are so busy trying to sell real estate to our clients, invest in real estate. You know, it's amazing that how so many of us let opportunities go by to our clients, and we never looked upon it and say, this would be a great opportunity to invest in. Let me make an investment. Invest in your business. That would be my top thought.
Fantastic, fantastic, James. And I'm sure I will cut this out of the recording and send it out to all of them, because they are fabulous points and will help every single young realtor grow. Fantastic, Naresh. Thank you so much for that. While I've been cracking a joke before asking every question, on this one, neither will there be a joke nor a quote, because COVID pandemic has taken a lot of good people away from us. So only prayers and wishes, with a huge thank you to there is a breed of NAR-India COVID warriors and city associations COVID warriors who have given so much of their selfless time, effort, and money to save lives in this period in India. Truly, 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 every COVID warrior, we are extremely proud of you. I've now started saying realtors give land to the people, but it's the first time I've seen realtors give people back to the land by saving so many lives. So hats off to all of you. Proud of you, the fellow COVID warriors across India and across the globe. Thank you so much, and I take a bow. I take a bow on behalf of NAR-India for all of you. So Naresh, coming to the question, pandemic brought the world to the halt once. India managed it well in the first wave, and real estate bounced back amazingly well last year, contrary to a lot of naysayers. Unfortunately, wave 2 has been deadly, with loss of lives, lockdowns, all of it, which will impact economy in some bit. So what is your outlook and view on the same, with the message to all the viewers, based on the multiple downturns and setbacks like recessions, wars, natural calamities that you would have witnessed in 4 decades of your business career? What is the piece of advice that you'll send out?
Every downturn, let's look at it as an opportunity, to grow our business. If you look at a downturn in a market as an opportunity to grow our business, I think you will be looking forward to downturns, rather than being scared or afraid of downturns. Breaking into any market is much easier when the markets are soft and rattled. Markets always ultimately evolve. I think focus, dedication, and service are key for every downturn that has created these opportunities. And you also know that every downturn, whether it be, whether it's the 1997 Asian crisis, whether it is the 2002 dot-com bust, whether it was, the 2008 financial bust in the US, or the pandemic, it has actually created more new millionaires in the marketplace, and the marketplace has only expanded. So I think if one looks at the market and says, okay, the market's going down, what is it that I need to do different, or what is it that which niche do I need to get into in order to get a head start on the market? Like I said, the market's only soften when the markets go down, so that's your opportunity to penetrate the market. If you're new in the business, my advice would be take advantage of the market and get into the market and stay strong. Ultimately, things will turn and markets will evolve. They've always evolved.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great positive thing. And we've already seen after the wave 1 last year and lockdowns, there were naysayers, and people have done business that they've never done before. That kind of a business. So I'm sure there are opportunities on their way. Naresh, we'll move quickly to manage time better. The other day I saw a falling star. They say if you wish, when you see a falling star, your wishes come true. So I wished for the power to understand my wife. Trust me, not only did the falling star stop falling, it actually went back and joined the original star. It somehow didn't want to fall anymore. So I wasn't successful, but you've been successful in many things. So how do you define success? And give us one or two most successful moments from your life and career.
The best success is to fail. There's no better success than failing. As you know, success can be defined in many ways, and it means many different things to many people. I would say, to me, success has been the road to the accomplishment of a defined purpose. But if you don't fail, there is no way you can say that you were successful. You only realize the success and appreciate the success when you have failed and gotten up and gotten back on your feet. That is what success, at least to me, is.
Superb, superb. And you've actually touched on a point that I always take up in trainings in terms of demarketing the purpose and the goals, because that's so crucial, so fabulous. So, on our 25th anniversary silver jubilee, my wife asked me to gift her a machine, a mean machine that goes from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds and drives her crazy. I ended up gifting her a weighing machine. It's both the purposes. So it doesn't drive her, but my question to you is, what drives you, what keeps you going, and what inspires you the most in real estate industry?
It's getting to know people, meeting new people. Every day is a different day. There is no same day the next day. You just need to find solutions to all your problems. I would say don't look at problems as problems, but look at trying to find solutions, and then the problems are gone.
Superb, superb, very well articulated. Thank you so much for that one. I'm coming to the last question because I'm sure we'll have a lot of questions. To all our participants, you can write your questions on Q&A and we'll take them and Naresh will answer them after the last question that I'm putting across to Naresh. Naresh, a lot of realtors love to say we were bank benchers and we did not study in our student days. And they believe studies are done only for 2 reasons. And I'll switch to Hindi for a lot of our Hindi belt realtors. एक शौक के लिए और दूसरा डर से, सिर्फ यही 2 कारण के कारण हम पढ़ते थे. So, but realtors say our speciality is फालतू शौक हम पालते नहीं हैं और डरते तो हम किसी के बाप से भी नहीं हैं. So that is the norm in the industry. But what is the message that you will give to Indian realtors? I know we've talked about youth, we've talked about realtors, so there's a little bit of repetition, but the encapsulated do's and don'ts for success and growth in real estate. Naresh.
Only one thing: accelerate your learning.
Wow.
There's not enough out there. I think there's a lot out there to learn. Don't stop learning. The only way to evolve is accelerate your learning.
Wow. Fantastic. And summed up very, very well. Thank you so much for your amazing responses, Naresh. Thank you also for the patience at my punts. Just before we take the questions from the audience, since we call it a talk show, let's do a rapid fire round very quickly. This is a surprise to you. So let's make it rapid answers, whatever comes to your mind first. And, then we'll take the audience questions. So what motivates you to get out of the bed in the morning?
Real estate.
Wow. Your favorite movie?
Lagan.
Your favorite book?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Fabulous. Your favorite food dish?
Parsi dish called Sali Boti.
Very nice. What's your number 1 priority for 2021?
Building critical skills and competencies in my field.
Super. What problem are you solving now?
I don't solve problems. I find solutions.
Fantastic. What's your number 1 uniqueness of your business that makes you fall in love with it?
Every day is a new day. Just need to find newer solutions many times to solve same problems.
Wow. What is the biggest challenge you have ever faced?
2008 market crash. invested in more in real estate, bought when everyone was selling.
Fantastic. Name the most favorite or maybe any three people that inspired you in life.
Interesting. Warren Buffett, the story of a newspaper wala to richest man in the world, still very down to earth. My mother, she never gave up on me. She was my trainer and mentor in the business. And I would say the third one would be my wife and kids, as I know that they will leave the light on for me.
Fabulous. Fabulous. What is your leisure time, your passionate hobby that you pursue?
This is interesting. My leisure time is talking real estate.
Super.
And my hobbies is building and broking. You know, some play golf, they hit the same ball. I prefer building. No game of ball is the same.
Wow. Wow. Superb. The best one-line real estate advice that you've got in your career.
My mom gave me an advice. Son, never compromise your integrity. That's all you have.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And the one-line real estate advice that you would like to give to your audience and Realtors.
Don't compromise your integrity.
I was waiting for it. I thought that would come. Fantastic. Passes on the generations, and that's great. If you had a chance to have dinner with any two people in the world, who would they be? I know one of them would be me, but you could name any other two. Just kidding.
Yeah. I think Warren Buffett and Obama.
And Obama. Fabulous. One wish for the whole world that you would make now.
Oh, be safe. Take the virus seriously. This is no joke.
Absolutely. Last, you've given it 3 or 4 times, but anything else added? Your pearls of wisdom to any young budding entrepreneur.
Accelerate your learning. You cannot wing it like we did in the old times. Those days are gone.
Superb. Thank you so much, Naresh. It's been absolutely fantastic asking you these questions. I will get down to the Q&A. I see a lot of questions, and let me start taking from the top. Anonymous, I'll take this, but please put your names so that we know who's asking. He's asking, can we have a shared learning session with NAR USA?
Absolutely. I think it can very easily be organized. I think Tarun is already the president of NAR-India, is already working on certain initiatives. Definitely. Absolutely.
Wonderful. I could add up to it, being a part of NAR-India, I'm aware. So Tarun is also on the board of our president, NAR-India, is also on the board of NAR-US, which is the first time. And there are a lot of common programs being planned this year for common interactions. Naresh, how do you see the growth of internet usage by now and 2000? Bala. So maybe he meant 2022 or whatever like that. But I guess it's about technology. So
it's only going to grow and expand markets.
Yep. Any inputs on the growth of co-working industry in the next 3 to 4 months' time, especially in India, especially in South India?
It's going to evolve. The co-working groups, commercial real estate here in the US is going through a major downturn because of the pandemic. And it's quite likely that I don't think we will be back up to capacity anytime soon. A lot of people who wanted to work from home prior to the pandemic were not allowed to, but I think after the pandemic, their superiors are understanding that, hey, it can be embraced as an opportunity, and we can work at home and thereby reduce our overhead cost. So, and they're also moving more and more towards co-working.
Super. This was James Thomas from Space One. Manjesh has a question. Where do you see NAR India today, and what should be our next milestone goal?
India has come a long way from when we started. Remember, we started only with 6 associations, and actually there were 6 individuals who brought their associations into the fold. I am totally grateful to them always. I feel that it's an opportunity that everybody needs to embrace.
Lovely. Vipul Sheth says, Naresh ji, did you face competition? How did you manage to beat competition, and any tips to newcomers?
Very easy to beat competition. Ravi was my biggest competitor. But all you do with your competition, embrace them so tight that they can't get away from it. You know?
Super.
So embrace your competition. Don't challenge them. You're going to lose.
Super. Manoj Agarwal has to say that, how do you see Indian market come back after the second corona wave? I think you've already answered, but please take it.
I think it'll expand in many different ways. Many different ways. And there are going to be opportunities. I hate to say it, but thanks to the pandemic.
Super. Vinod Thakkar, whom you know from the old times, says, Naresh, nice to listen to you after long. Can you please share about the important training modules of NAR US, which Indian realtors must go through?
Thank you, Vinod. Nice to know you're online. I tell you, one of the new initiatives that NAR USA has done is they formed a Realtor University. I would encourage a lot of the brokers in India to look at this and see if you can find any module there that would really help your business. And actually, some of the young people that are on the panel, embrace it. Go get your master's degree from Realtor University.
Thank you, Naresh ji. Vinod bhai, thank you for the question. Satbir ji from Delhi, he is asking, one thing we are missing in India is pan-India, one single rate fee commission for all the realtors. Once we start this from the platform of NAR India, we'll able to implement and make consistent efforts. Your views, Naresh?
I have a very different view, which may not work well in a place like India. Here in the US, we don't talk commissions at all. Even with my own competition, we never get into commission business. I don't think it's ever going to be a role that NAR India can play on its platform, or any organization should get itself involved in trying to determine a flat fee or a flat rate. You basically put the price of the commission on your own head, and it's really the service that you provide. So while you can say, look, 2% should be the standard, and that's what the rate is, that's what the going rate is, it doesn't work in today's market. It doesn't. And moving forward with the way technology is penetrating into our market, I think the best you can do is put the price on your head and ask yourself what you're worth. And I think you'll get paid.
Super. We have Harshdeep Madan Pochra, and after this question, maybe later I would like to connect with him. His question is, when will India have a MLS system run by NAR India? What is stopping it?
It's coming.
Absolutely. So, it's something that we could connect, and Team NAR would be more than happy to answer. We have another senior person, Shyam Vyas ji, coming saying, Dear Naresh, we the realtors owe you every bit for taking the initiative and extraordinary efforts for consolidating us under one umbrella in NAR India. On behalf of many here, I would like to ask you a question. What measures should be taken for ensuring the security of our brokerage from our clients and developers?
I don't think any broker, you can get all kinds of listing contracts, you can put everything in a contract, but if your client wants to cheat you out of a commission, they're going to do it. I don't think any broker who has worked hard and knows that they deserve a commission that they've ever lost a commission. So I feel that contracts are really, guidelines, and they're not going to help you, but you have to provide the service. If you're being shortchanged, there's something wrong, more than what's meeting the eye.
Fantastic response. Gitendra Gupta ji from Delhi, he's asking if anyone wishes to move to the US and do real estate business, how do we go about it, and does it still make sense?
Yes,
Naresh?
it makes sense. It always makes sense. I think if you can come to the US and embrace the standards of practice and accelerate your learning, there's an opportunity for everybody. The market is huge. And I would say you don't have to come to US. I think the markets are pretty large in India itself. You can accelerate, if you accelerate your learning and understanding, there is a market for everybody.
Super. I have to take Ravinder Agarwal because he has put one question and one compliment to me. So I obviously have to take his question. Thank you, Ravinder ji. But Ravinder ji has an interesting question. How do Indian realtors start selling international properties in Italy, Spain, Dubai, selling to Indian customers?
I'd say attend some of the conventions, embrace NAR-India. We have conventions here in the US. We have 2 major meetings. We have a big conference that's normally comes out in November. Try to attend it. You'll meet different people from different parts of the world that come to that conference. It's generally held in November. I'm not sure if this year they're going to do it. It might be on the web, so that might be easier for you to attend. That would be the best way to kind of interact with people from across the world.
Fantastic. Sarvesh has a question from Chennai, Sarvesh Realty, saying, can you please discuss regarding commercial real estate, some suggestions and tips on how to work on closing the deal as it involves more people decisions to finish the deal?
That's a complex one.
Yep.
I mean, people are the same all over the world. You just have to understand your client and their needs. And if there's an opportunity out there, I think you'll be able to close it. If you can find a solution to the problem, that problem will no longer be there.
Absolutely. Ekta Ranjan from Bhopal, she's asking, what are the best sources of learnings?
I think NAR-India is putting out some shows on that. There are a lot of online programs available, not just by NAR-India, but also by NAR-USA. I would say look at their website, and I think you can join some of those courses, especially in property management, in sales management, so on and so forth.
Nice. Ravi Ramesh is asking, do we have a broking exchange opportunities in US?
Yes, always. This is one of the fundamental reasons why we formed NAR-India. So you can affiliate yourself to realtors across the world. NAR-USA has got collaborations across the world, and being part of this family, that's what creates these global opportunities for our realtors across every local city in India.
Super. I'll take 2 to 3 more questions. They're really flowing. And the reason for that is Naresh had forewarned me before the show that 90 minutes is a sharp cutoff, and he starts charging after 90 minutes. Till 90 minutes, he's doing it free for us. So I'll still take 2, 3 questions. Vijay is asking, what trends do you foresee having maximum traction in the next 5 years in India?
The trend that we are seeing in the real estate business in the US is that Wall Street's getting into our business in a very big way. Typically, real estate investment trusts would invest only in commercial real estate. But recently, a lot of the large commercial real estate property management firms, Cushman Wakefield, so on and so forth, have started opening residential property management firms in a very big way. And they have actually started acquiring single family residential properties in neighborhoods, more in the starter home segment. Because they find that the return on investment in the single family segment only in the starter home segment is huge. So if you've not bought a house, you better go out there and buy it, because in 10 years, you will not be able to afford it, because real estate investment trusts are going to come in and take their positions with these starter homes. This is actually a big threat to our business, because they operate on a very different platform than we do. I think some of the new market entrants who want to get into the business are going to find, who want to actually acquire property are going to find it more difficult. Market's going to not be as easy to get into there.
Super.
I think if you Google single family home market segment being acquired by Wall Street, you will find many articles across the board.
Fantastic. Donthi Murli has a question, and honestly, Naresh, I have attended many panel shows, hosted a few of them, but I have never come across this question. So I'm still going to break it up. He says, your opinion on digital molesting and how to face it. So have you heard that term? I haven't.
I haven't. One minute.
Okay.
I haven't really.
Okay.
I don't know what he's referring to.
Yeah, so we could go wrong on the answer because I'm also just basic, but I thought I should bring the question. Gavin,
Sure.
I see your name here, but no question. From Bombay, how does the, PDOS has asking, how does the world, Dhiren Doshi, sorry, how does the world see the Mumbai real estate market post-corona?
Challenging. Because living in such close quarters, people are having second thoughts.
Keur Panchal says, sir, what do you think future prospects in co-working space sector post the pandemic in India? Because that's one sector that will change.
It's going to evolve a lot more, and it's going to get highly competitive.
Chetan Chopra is asking, Super Soch Samir Bhai, wanna ask from Naresh sir, how does he see business moving to 2-tier and 3-tier cities in future?
We are experiencing a huge boom in our marketplaces in the 2nd-tier and 3rd-tier cities. Commercial real estate is being acquired. Companies have realized that they need to drop their real estate costs, their real estate overhead. They're going to have to, in order to bring their workers back in, they're going to have to offer more space. Cubicles may be out, so larger office space where they used to squeeze in maybe a person in a 6 by 6 square feet. That's not going to work anymore. They're going to have to give 10 by 10 space to an individual, in which case they will end up using more real estate. So if you're going to end up using more real estate, you have to move to 2nd-tier cities. Thanks to technology, it doesn't matter where they're sitting in the world, they will move to 2nd-tier cities. We are seeing it in markets like Richmond. We're seeing it in markets like North Carolina, so on and so forth. Our DC market is moving more south as property, as they go further south, property values drop and people are able to acquire a lot. I'm seeing a lot of developers acquiring land in the Richmond corridor just for that reason.
Super. Chetan, your day should be made. Your future is bright. Maybe you can have another drink today evening. But my friend Pradnya here from Bombay, Smart Mumbai. Pradnya, is asking, how can we increase number of women realtors in India like US? Good question. Naresh.
I tell you, this is, I can't tell you what a great opportunity real estate is for women. And I think India has has certain challenges which the US has been able to overcome. But you just have to do it. I mean, people have to feel comfortable. I think the birth of NAR-India was one of the reasons was to embrace professionalism, so to bring the new aspirants into the industry and women into the industry. I think that we will achieve that in due course.
Pradnya, I'll add to it. That's one of the reasons we are bringing handsome and intelligent people like Naresh on the shows, so that more women get attracted to real estate. Just kidding there. Sanjeev Singh is asking, how do you see NRI investments in India after the second wave of COVID?
They'll pick up. They'll pick up. India has always been a safe haven for a lot of NRIs. I think a lot of NRIs, the pandemic has brought about certain doubts about, this whole initiative of wanting to run home. When there's a problem, you always run home. I think the problem that I see with NRI investments in India is the exit policies in India are not very supportive of NRIs. And once that changes, I think there'll be more investments coming into the country.
Great. Shiva, who's one of the vice presidents at CREA, has a question, sir. Sir, it is a privilege to hear from you. In the year 2030, do you think real estate brokerage will still continue to grow, or will it be taken over by technology with least human interaction?
Real estate will continue to grow as a result of technology. Those who don't embrace technology, you're going to be weeded out. But those who embrace it, you're just going to have a bigger field to play in. So I would say embrace technology. And finally, I don't think anybody can replace the realtor. You can only replace yourself.
Great. I think I'll limit it to a couple of questions now. Last ones. Pankaj Singh has a question. Sir, can we have a certification course from NAR US collaborated with NAR India, which can help us to grow fast in our real estate career?
Absolutely. I think that's already in the works. Tarun is working on few of the initiatives. Some of them are already in place, and some of them he's working on, from what I know.
Great. Ravikant says there is a lot of difference between US real estate business and Indian real estate business. Do you think Indian real estate business can reach out to the US standards?
My friend, people are the same, whether it's Indian or US. I think the markets will evolve, and if you're willing to evolve, you'll do well.
Great. Rajat Narayan has a question saying, do you foresee secondary real estate market getting regulated in India? How's the scenario in US?
So the
secondary sales, in India, they say primary sales is what you sell from the developers, and secondary is what is between the owner and the buyer and the seller.
Yeah.
So, which is still not very highly regulated by RERA. So what is the scenario in the US is what he's asking, and do you think it will be regulated in India?
Okay. I don't think secondary sales, we don't have any regulation on primary or secondary. In fact, we don't even segment our market primary and secondary. From a regulation point of view, we don't. I don't think I don't think it'll get regulated in India. Secondary sales will not get regulated in India, only because you have more issues in primary sales. You have more risk in a primary sale because you're giving advances to developers. And if they don't complete the project, guess what happens? You have a real problem on your hands.
Great. Raj Padmanabhan, Chetan, a lot of other people, thank you so much. A lot of them are not questions, but you guys have really liked the show, and that makes us very, very happy. I'm just trying to find one last question that I can ask. Sarit Jonala has a question. What is your consistent tool that helped you to continue as a realtor, except for money or monetary?
Education.
Fantastic. Santosh Senapati has a question. I would like to know what is the level of commitment of developers in US while paying the brokerage? And what would be your message to the developers in India who are not that cooperative while paying out brokerage / consulting fee in time?
100% in the US. If they commit to a commission, they will 100% pay without any issues, unless there's a glitch in the service. My thing about developers in India is, I think they have to embrace every tool in their box in order to sell their wares. Market goes up and down. Some of them change their colors as market goes up, and you'll see those colors changing, reverting back to cooperating with brokers. I think build your relationships and work with people that respect your service and respect your clients.
Kushal Ramesh has a question. There's a company by the name eXp Realty. Everybody's heard that, but a US realty firm penetrating Indian market and promoting MLM type of brokerage sharing. What's your take on it?
It's a tough call. I don't know how it'll do. Really, in the Indian marketplace, I don't know how to do, because the real estate listing service is so it's not organized.
Great. Amit Chopra from Goa says, great to see the big icon from NAR-India, our founder, share his knowledge. He says, I myself foresee the market in luxury realty to actually boom even more in the coming times, despite the pandemic, once things get better. What is your view on it?
We're seeing the same over here. Yes, it will boom.
Superb. Vijay is asking, how much would it cost one to set up a brokerage in the US, say North Carolina?
It doesn't cost much to set it up. It costs more to get here.
True.
I mean, setting up a brokerage business in the US is one of the cheapest things. You can rent office space for as little as $2,000. Getting your license and getting started up will probably be another maybe maximum $2,000-3,000, and you're on your way.
Fantastic. So I see a lot more intelligent questions, and the last of the messages from our president Tarun Bhatia itself, appreciating Naresh ji and us for wonderful interaction and for fabulous learning and insights. Ladies and gentlemen, as they say, all good things need to come to an end. So thank you so much to all the participants first for being such a lovely and a participative audience. I mean, this is probably the most that I've ever seen in questions. So Naresh ji, that's a huge compliment to you. Thank you, Naresh, for really taking out the time to be on our show and adding value to, NAR-India, all the realtors, brokers, and agents, and our real estate fraternity in India. Ladies and gentlemen, just for your information, it's very early morning there. And special thanks to Naresh for getting up that early, suited, booted, and ready to take all your questions and answers. That's his passion for real estate. Thank you, NAR-India, for this phenomenal support. And thank you, everyone. Bye for now. Shukriya, Shukran, Shabba Khair, Alvida, Jai Janendra, Khyal Rakhjo, stay safe, Siao, Merci, Adios, love from Dalai Lama. Thank you so much.
Thank you.